So I'm going to walk you through the radio work group activities, development, the progress, where we are, where we're heading, and things that we are focusing on. So of course, how we do the coexistence, MulteFire, some aspects of the specifications that are basically tailored to this primary use case that doesn't have an anchor license as a part of it, as well as some performance study that we did in Qualcomm, and then we can. So this slide is actually very similar to the slide that's kind of presented. The different combination of the different technologies that are currently existing in the online system. Starting chronologically, Wi-Fi, of course, is well known, and 11EC is the latest existing specification. 11EX is coming. Then the next thing that we had was, because the operators started offloading capacity on the unlicensed, and that time Wi-Fi mostly, there was this approach of LTE Wi-Fi aggregation, where you start routing packets somewhere in the code, probably usually somewhere in the stack, usually in the TCP layer above the American RFC. And that got one step further when we introduced LAA and LTU in general, where we said, okay, since there is a licensed component and then there is an unlicensed component, the unlicensed component can also be LTE, it turns out, why not having an LTE? So the LAA as a concept is a carrier aggregation, just happened to be that the second cell is going into unlicensed spectrum or shared spectrum in general. So that still provided all the aspects of robustness and mobility naturally as an LTE, because the anchor is there, the license component is still there, which carries all this functionality. Now, last but not least, technology, there is the MulteFire that we are reading here about. Here we removed even the license component, and now we need to look into the procedures and how to make the procedures in a way robust and the mobility workable when there is no guaranteed spectrum or license. So from the perspective of centralization, MulteFire is based on 3GPP, since that's based on LTE. So when we had the LTU, it was based on release 12. Then we had the LAA, it was based on release 13. Both of them were only downlink, there was no uplink. Then release 14, which is ongoing now, has the uplink part. So between release 13 and release 14, LAA got the total TDD structure for LAA. Now we are taking video release 13 and release 14, same TDD benefits that are developed now, flexibilities that are developed in release 14, we are benefiting from. But on top of that, we are adding in the MulteFire Alliance the aspects that are on top of it, the aspects that really do not pertain to a licensed state. For example, how to do robust mobility as one. So maybe this slide is more clear on how do we build a MulteFire. So MulteFire has all these different features and different technologies. We start with LTE, let's say the release 10, which has carrier aggregation in it. When we move to release 13, we get the same concept of carrier aggregation, but the secondary cell wasn't unlicensed and was only downlink. Then we go to release 14, we had to add the uplink. Adding the uplink required adding some of the features that is important. This thing is ongoing. It actually overlaps with MulteFire, what MulteFire is doing now in the radio group. But things like the waveform of uplink needed to change to accommodate some of the aspects of the constraints and the regulations. We needed to have a more flexible way of framing, having transmit frame and transmit opportunity. And this is an aspect of the LDT radio requirement that we need to do. There needed to be some hard requirements and changes. This is what I'm saying in ELA with release 14. When release 14 or currently, while release 14 is introducing the uplink part, these things are coming into this. On top of that, in the MulteFire Alliance, we are enhancing things that that we don't care about. Not the discovery signals, for example, because these happen on the license, like the robust fluidity, as I said. Robust procedures, the pre-gene, how do you do the ratch, all the aspects, the procedural aspects that led the presence of a license control. So MulteFire is all of this together. It is LTE plus the LAA aspects, and on top of that, the enhancement for MulteFire. Now I'm going to go into specific features, that specific mode of MulteFire, and how did we change them. One of them is the TDD frame structure. Those of you who are familiar with TDD, in release 8, there's been 7 different TDD structures that are defined. The origin meaning there's a clear definition of what's a downlink and what's an uplink. When we moved to our license, and this is something also ELA is considering, we have a completely flexible structure. In a sense that you can have a frame that is completely downlink. You can have a frame that is almost completely uplink, if you have one downlink and the rest is uplink. But the idea is that the ELB can change downlink and uplink depending on the traffic considered. This is something Wi-Fi is good for. It is something that is really coming from Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi transmits uplink and downlink depending on traffic. It doesn't have this rigid downlink. So this was one of the things that we adopted, and this slide is clarifying what does this mean. Typically in an LTE setup, TDD structure, you have an underlying frame structure that's happening in the background, meaning specific subframe is just a downlink or an uplink. Any user or all users in a synchronous system know that this subframe is a downlink or an uplink. The problem with that is that once you have MPT going, not too far from here. Once you have MPT going, you try to access the channel. If you access the channel and you win it, like this point, I don't think I need a money. For example, you access the channel, you win the channel here, but you cannot really start transmitting here because these are uplink subframes, right? So that constrains. That really constrains where do you need to access the channel. Remember, you are competing with Wi-Fi, for example, in 5 GHz, which has the ability to access the channel at any point in time. Once you constrain yourself to only percentage of time where you can access, you decrease the ability or decrease your probability of winning the channel corresponding to Wi-Fi. So we move to that kind of a domain where you access the channel, you sense the channel. Once you get it, you go ahead and start the frame right away, because really you define for yourself what's a downlink and what's an uplink. So I always start with the downlink, but how many downlinks, how many uplinks is something that is functional. So that was an important addition. The other aspect here relates to scheduling. Typically in LTE, if you want to schedule, this mode is really the regular mode of LTE. This uplink is scheduled by this down. Right? But if I start to transmit opportunity or transmit frame, let's say, and I happen to have uplink traffic, most of my traffic is uplink. So I want the transmit opportunity. I want the video to be mostly uplink. Now if you do this, you cannot really schedule these two uplinks because you don't have this 4 subframe constraint that you need in the regular legacy software. So what we did is that we react this, we defined it in a way such that early on the ELB can signal daily that there will be an uplink subframe coming to you. So this is what we call cross TXOP. So at this point, it signal daily that there will be some TXOP coming, some uplink coming, and then all of the UE means is a trigger here that it can transmit right away. So the UE knows that an uplink is coming, it prepares the packet, everything is ready, just gets triggered, it should be right away. The other thing is that, again, if you have a very heavy uplink like that, you don't want, or will not be able to send it RAM for each one of them, because again, the timeline starts breaking. So you would want to have something like one trigger for multiple uplink subframes. Most of this, what I covered so far, are considered in ELA because they are applicable to both ALA and MulteFire. This is another aspect which is the HRQ and the uplink. As you guys also, those who are familiar, the downlink in LTE is synchronous, is asynchronous, meaning that there is no really rigid timeline, but the uplink has been synchronous. So when you transmit the packet, after 4 milliseconds you're expecting an add, after 8 milliseconds, after another 4 milliseconds you're expecting to send the second transmission and so on. Now this is the LBT kind of environment is very tricky because I may not get the spectrum after 8 milliseconds. So what we do is very similar to the downlink, asynchronous way that when the UE transmits the packet, it can get the ACTMAC at any point in time, and the ACTMAC that's coming from the inner B has also the grant for the retransmission. This aspect is more of a regulatory aspect, which is the waveform change that we need. It is not necessarily needed for any shared spectrum where MulteFire works, but it is needed for those, for the spectrum where the regulatory body has constraints on the power spectrums. And by that, I mean that if I take Europe, for example, you have this restriction that you cannot have more than 11 dBm in any 1 megahertz. So the regular, or the typical of the legacy waveform that is used in 3GPP and LTE is something like that. They will give a chunk of a spectrum for user 1, consecutive chunk of spectrum for user 1, and another consecutive for user 2. And this was done for things related to peak average and to enhance the power consumption for UT. But if you were to do this, when you have a power limit of 1 megahertz, that means that you cannot really go above, for example, this 10 dBm or 11 dBm. If I put all my support, my frequency support, my signal here, I will be breaking the PSD limit if I go above 11 dBm. So I will have to have only 11 dBm, but I don't have any power in the remaining of the spectrum. So my total power is low, which means link budget is flat. I cannot create transmit for power. However, instead of that, we did it in a way where you interlace the transmit waveform, and in this case, I can always meet the PSD limit and the overall transmit power would be increased. This signal is also one of the very important things in the MulteFire design. The reason is that the discovery signal, it is the main channel that is used for almost all the procedures. It's used from the beginning when you try to acquire the system, and it's used after that when you do measurements for RRM, for mobility, when you do radio link monitoring. It is used in many functionalities of the system. Now, what used to happen in LAA or the situation in LAA or ELA is that this stuff happens on the license. Now, this is completely and the problem for MulteFire, not really for the license. And the thing is that we use the CDRS that is defined, more or less the CDRS that is defined in release 12. It is some channel that come hopefully periodically, every 40, 80, or 160 milliseconds. But because we can only have it infrequently like that, we didn't want to have, and it is the channel that is used to acquire the system. We didn't want to have the UE to need multiple observations of this channel to carry its own functionalities. So the design moved into a way where one instance of this channel should be enough for the UE to access the channel at reasonable SMR. So to do that, we have to beef up the synchronization signals and the system information signal. So this dark blue one is the legacy code. You have two synchronization signals and you have the PDC8 which carries the mid here. What we did actually is that we beefed up the synchronization signal and we beefed up also the mid so that in one shot, hopefully, you can just see one of these DRSs and then you can acquire the system. That means that 140 millisecond. In 140 milliseconds, so just you need 40 milliseconds. The other aspect is that, as you know, again, in legacy LTE, the mid is in subframe 0, the SID is in subframe 5. That would again require another time for the LTE to wait. So what we did is that we combined the whole system information and combined waveform that happens here. So this channel, as I said, is a very important channel, and we use this channel for all the procedures, and it is meant to be very robust compared to query. Now, there are also some of the functionalities that you have to pay attention to the impact of LBT. Meaning, if I send DRS every 40 milliseconds, I may not be able to find the channel available already, right? Because there's some Wi-Fi on the channel, some other MulteFire on the channel, some other technology in the channel. So we have to create these kinds of windows. These windows that the UE should expect to receive the DRS or this discovery set within a window. When the UE is paged, because there is some traffic, the UE, instead of waking up and looking at one single subframe to read the page, we extended this to have a window. Because again, maybe the entity doesn't have the medium at that time and cannot send it. Of course, there are consequences in terms of power consumption if you don't design it properly. So for example, for the paging, the UE used to wake up and wait for only 1 millisecond. Now the UE would have to wake up for a number of a few milliseconds. So again, the specification addresses this by looking into the UE. If the UE, for example, finds out that there is transmission coming from the UND, but there is no pitch coming, then it can go back to things like that to mitigate the power consumption on the UE side, but meanwhile being flexible enough to handle the variabilities that can happen because of LBT. Now, on the mobility side, I think it's already covered in various probably presentation, but in general, these are the different modes. We do support mobility between different MulteFire nodes. Mobility from a MulteFire to an MNO, 3GPP, or the macro network in general, and then mobility the other way around, the hand-in from a macro network to UE is something that we are discussing now. Actually, I would expect this meeting even will converge on this, but it is currently under discussion whether to be in 1.0, the current specification, or in 1.1, the next specification, but it will be covered sooner or later. In addition to that, as we said, the way you do radio link monitoring has to change, has to be more robust, because the channel may be getting low signal because there is no signal transmitted because of LBT, things like this. The RRM, the measurements need to be again done in a different way. We have to define different measurement objects because the design allows asynchronous networks, so I may not know where really the discovery signal of the cell that I'm trying to measure is. So enhancement on RRM, enhancement on RLF, enhancement on how to trigger RLF. Maybe in some cases it is not desirable to stay on the network where we don't see the discovery signal for a long time. So the network is not able, the UND is not able to get the network, to get the access to the unit for a long time, and this could be a reason for the unit to drop, to declare RLF and do research. So generally, as I think all of these are covered, if you look at the different benefits of this technology on the coverage and on the capacity, we did show, and I'm going to cover some of that. Gains in the coverage, we see up to -6, there is up to 6 dB difference between the budget. On the capacity, we see 2x mean mobility, as I discussed. That kind of robust mobility, I don't think Wi-Fi can achieve. We in the ready group are targeting 50 kilometers per hour mobility, which is of course something that is hard to have in Wi-Fi. Robustness, we are also working on. We'll be working very soon on minimum performance specification and conformance specification. Both together will put a framework for certification that end-to-end the MulteFire system should be guaranteed for robustness and for quality of service. Some simulations quickly, this is indoor simulations, these are two operators. When we make these two operators, so this dark is operator 1, this red, this blue is operator 1, this red is operator 2. You start with two Wi-Fi operators, you look at the downlink and uplink, you get some throughput on both of them. Then we pick one of them and make it or move it to MulteFire. So remember, this one here was the Wi-Fi performance. So the Wi-Fi performance enhanced. Really, this also Stefan touched on that. this kind of improvement that Wi-Fi can get, it is because the system capacity, so the network capacity, the capacity of the whole network improves with MulteFire. Because the loading of the system, or the loading on it decreases. If you are efficient, if the node is efficient in leveling the bits to the level, its time over the net, over the air is less. When its time over the air is less, other networks around can take more of the medium compared to when the contender was Wi-Fi. So still LTE MulteFire by itself provided more gain, but as I said also the Wi-Fi gains improved. Now if we were only to have MulteFire, like in the setup where you have venues, for example, we have full control on the channel, and you just instead of deploying Wi-Fi to deploy only MulteFire, you see really tremendous gains. By the way, just to be accurate, these gains are 11EC for now, we are updating to 11EX, but still the aspects of the reasons of the gains, there are many reasons for us to believe that they are fundamental, but even 11EX will not be able to close the gap significantly. The results were out indoor, we repeated them outdoor. Again, this is Wi-Fi versus MulteFire. And you can see tremendous gains here. We need to redo this with 11EX, taking into consideration the enhancement of 11EX has. But as I said, link-wise, we are trying to shrink the gap. Map-wise and map efficiency-wise, we do believe that they will not be, the Wi-Fi will still for some time be limited, because any 11EX node, for example, would have to exist with 11EC node and 11M nodes. So you really cannot do all of these enhancements that are promised. So in summary, MulteFire is based on 3GPP. It is a combination of LAA plus ELA plus procedure enhancement, robust procedure enhancement happening in the MulteFire. There are improvements in coverage, in capacity, in mobility, and guaranteed robustness that we have a framework of the Tamer performance specification conformance. The sum which we group should be able to. I think this is my last slide. I have 4 minutes.
I have a question. I have a look excited about the heart transition. I think that will require the cell phone of chipsets have a larger memory. So I think that maybe about the things that will cause the complexity of the chipset, like fire, and be controlled. And the second question is that based on that, we want to see the different kind of capacity the vehicle you need. So if I go into the maximum vehicle lower or IoT chipset, lower what kind of configuration then will be considered?
Yeah, thank you. So for the first one, the memory itself, the memory is mostly defined by the number of hard processes that you need, and that we are not changing. That is the same as LT. It's currently I think 16. We are also using that. The devices, the constraints on the devices in terms of you asked about the power. You asked about. The second question was about yeah, the capabilities, yes. Yeah. Now, the class of IV is not something that we have yet specified. And by IV here, I mean the cut-in or the nerve-band IV. It is not yet in the specification or probably in the next version. But we can still do on the axis at this point. Yes, it is true that we do define new capabilities for things related to this. Some of them relate to the turnaround time, for example, between the downlink and uplink. Some capabilities depend really about how often can you transmit after there is a grant. When you go to the level of NB of IOE, most probably there will be more reduction in capabilities. So as of now, we did define probably about 4 or 5 capabilities, new capabilities that are coming out. And most probably when we get to the level of IOE as defined as a narrowband IoT and at the end, will probably be further organized. Want to discuss again in IOE? The unique categories actually there is a presentation this meeting, and I think that will need to come before MF1.0. It has to come with MF1.0 probably. The unique capabilities for MF1.0 are already work in progress. There is already contributions. Actually, my understanding is that this part will be concluded in August, around August time frame. Yes.
Yes. And so I noticed you are using a different build form for the MulteFire to maybe to fulfill the power density requirements. So are you also considering the regulatory requirements like ETSI grant? They're asking for maximum shared occupation. You know, I think the percentage maybe at least 80%. So also consider in the design of MulteFire such regulatory requirements.
Yes, that's a good question. I covered the most important reason for us to go into this kind of revolution, which is the PSP. But it also covered the aspect that you mentioned, that you are always transmitting more than 80% because you are not really equalizing your transmission in the lowest mode. So yes, that is covered. The thing is that we didn't know how is that tested really, if it's instantaneously has to be 80% or it's over time. But as because we needed that anyway from a PSP perspective, it kind of serves two purposes. So this is the
So is the will form is configurable or is fixed to be distributed?
Okay, that's a very good question. This is actually an open question in the living group now. Okay. And the reason is, if we were to go on a license like 5 GHz, most probably we will always need it to be distributed that kind of way. The point is, do you want to define it in a way that you can collapse to the default of the legacy default? Because in other share spectrum, like Stan showed that 3.5 GHz in the US or something, that one doesn't require that kind of a thing. You can put the full power there. So I think it's a good practice. This is my personal opinion. It's a good practice to have the ability to collapse it when this is needed, because then you get the advantage of the peak to average, and of course you get the advantage of being the development. You don't need to develop and test and you will form one.
Okay, I have another question. So about you mentioned about periodic transmission windows for key signals like VRF range. So, but in my understanding, unlicensed system is very difficult or maybe not really realistic to always guarantee to have such periodic changes. So how to handle this performance?
Yes, that's actually true. I think when we say periodic here, we do say periodic with the understanding that we want it to be periodic, not that necessarily it will really be periodic. So when we send the DRS, our understanding or our intention is to have it periodic every 40 milliseconds. But it's not really going to be that way because LVT will come in. So that's why we have a window of sending it. So strictly speaking, it will not be periodic because I may be sending it the first subframe in the first window, but next time after 40 milliseconds, I may be sending it in the second subframe as this is shown. So yeah, I don't think it will be completely periodic, but the intention of the design is to make it periodic. So it may not be 40, it may be 41, 42, 39, 38, something like that, but on average, it will be 40. And the implication of this on the UE battery time is what we are focusing or paying a lot of attention to make sure that this extra time the UE has to monitor is not really factored in.
Thank you.
Thank you.